Trask Law.
King County is in Seattle. Wow, in Washington State.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and what this is if you go to the police as a victim or any kind of other situation, to report any other kind of situation, they are not going to ask you if you're an illegal immigrant. And that has no relevance. It's just a matter of, are you involved in the crime? What information can you give us? So, in your opinion, is this a correct strategy to take? Would you rather have an illegal immigrant or a criminal caught?
I'd rather have a criminal, honestly. I mean, as you and I have talked many times, or anyone that's talked to me, I'm very pro immigration.
Amnesty?
No.
Okay.
Pro immigration reform. And I think that there are far too many illegals coming across. But first of all, I'm not really worried about that in outside of Seattle. That's not where they are. But the point is that that's really not of importance. If someone commits a crime such as murder or theft or anything like that, the fact that you're an illegal citizen shouldn't be the key concern. That should not be the first question asked. But if you're going to get repaid for it, or if there's anything like that, then it needs to be a question that's being asked. You should solve the issue first, and then before handing out any rewards or any kind of reparations, then maybe ask the question.
Well, they said the police in the area said that they were having a lot of problems in terms of getting evidence and some witnesses, and getting this kind of policy put out there formally has really turned it around, and they've already seen changes in their crime stopping ability. But it was a 5-4 vote, obviously 5 in favor, and some of the people who voted against it didn't really have a real reason. Their reasoning was, well, we already did it. So we've been doing it since 1992. Why do we have to do it formally?
Yeah.
And it's just pointless arguments that I think are just from irritating people.
I think that the police department's primary concern should be getting these people to justice and let.
So you don't mind. So it's perfectly fine if the police officer knows that and doesn't act on it later.
Wait, what?
Okay, doesn't. Sorry, that was really general. Let me narrow that. Jeez. If the police officer knows that it's an illegal immigrant but doesn't know where they are, when the illegal immigrant comes to them, knows they're an illegal immigrant, and then after they've solved the crime and they've been a witness, what would you say if the police officer went and arrested them and then had them deported?
I don't know. That's pretty tough. I mean,
this is a very hypothetical, random situation, but it's classic you. You like to give us these hypotheticals, I thought I would send one back to you. Hopefully you understand it, because I struggled a little
I got
first.
it.
Okay.
It's a good thinking point, because, I mean, that could happen, and, that's a very weird thing, but I think, honestly, that I don't have a problem with that. If, let them testify if they have to, but if they're illegal, they need to either go or...
Would you support this in Iowa?
No, because I actually would not, because I think that we have such a huge illegal immigration population here. I mean, just look at the agro-processors from, last year, 2 years ago. I think that if the police officers in this area know that someone's illegal, because it's such a big issue around here, that they should act on that.
Is it really that huge? Do you think it's that huge?
I really do. And a lot of people come to Iowa because of,
I know that it's become a high traffic area for people who cross the border.
But I don't want the police officers to, to go out and, screen people to see if they're illegal, we can't use their information. I think that should be left up to a different agency. The police officers should not be focusing on illegal immigrants. They should be focusing more on crime and theft and stuff of that nature.
All right. Well, then we will go to another break. And when we come back, we will discuss a case up against the high courts right now, discussing whether a juvenile has a right to hope, but an adult does not. So we'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to the second hour of Informavores. Again, thanks again to all of our veterans. That was the Marine hymn in honor of our veterans on Veterans Day today. let's toss it over to Alex to talk about this article about if juveniles have a right to hope.
Yes. Okay. What's happening is there is a case in front of the Supreme Court where it's being argued by a lawyer from Florida, and when this guy was 16 years old, he committed a murder and he got life without parole. All right. So the lawyer has gone in front of the Supreme Court and said that they pretty much sentenced the juvenile to be forever unfit for society. But his argument is that the juvenile is different than an adult and has an inherent capacity to change. So in response, of course, Justice Anthony Kennedy said, who might be a possible key vote here, asked, why does a juvenile have a constitutional right to hope, but an adult does not? So what do you think? Do you think that a juvenile has this right to where they should not have a life without parole because they've committed some sort of heinous crime, but yet an adult cannot get that because they don't have this inherent capacity to change? What do you think?
You know, I'm not a constitutional expert, but I never remember reading the right to hope. And I don't understand why judges are trying to expand this Constitution into things that it doesn't belong in. There's no right to hope. No, I don't care if you're, dismal or down. There's nothing that says that the government or anyone, you're entitled to be happy. Of course, you want people to be happy, but there's no entitlement to that. And as for this argument that juveniles can change but adults can't, I don't agree with that either. I mean, if you commit a heinous crime, which is, by the way, the only thing that'll get you life without parole, at a young age, you're obviously demented in a way that you should be considered unfit. Because, I mean, that's just a deep-seated thing. I mean, you can't just say, I was young and killed somebody. That doesn't make any sense.
There's such an attitude of, we can rehabilitate these people now. There's this big attitude, and rarely, very rarely, does a 16-year-old or an underage or any kind of juvenile get this harsh of a sentence.
Because they have to commit a heinous, horrible crime to get it. And in that case, they should deserve what they do. I don't care if you can't just say, I was young, so I killed somebody. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
I agree. That's stupid. I mean, you killed somebody, you do the time. Juveniles should not be, let off, because they're young. Like I said, there obviously something is deep-seated, and they're demented people because a normal person doesn't kill somebody, doesn't rape somebody. So obviously these people are demented. I don't care if you can rehabilitate them or not. They should not have a right to hope. That the fact that this is actually an issue bothers me. I mean, so many times I feel that the Justice Department and the judicial branch of the government is trying to expand their power beyond what they're actually given, and that really bothers me. I mean, I'm very, very constitutional in that way.
I don't know if I would go as far as that. In this case, they're trying to expand their power.
Then where did they get this right to hope?
Well, it's just something that it's the lawyer's argument. The justices didn't invent it. The justices are asking the questions. Okay. It wasn't the judicial branch. It was a lawyer arguing against the Supreme Court. And he's a very good lawyer because it's a very interesting argument that brings up some interesting questions. But I agree with you, and this kid does not deserve any kind of special treatment or random right to hope.
No, this just doesn't exist.
Yeah. All right, next topic.
Let's keep moving.
The U.S. Homeland Security Chief, Janet Napolitano, had to defend some new charges that are going up in the U.S. for people who want to travel from Europe or anywhere in the world into the country.
Specifically Europeans, though.
Yeah, specifically Europeans. There's going to be a $10 fee, which is essentially €7. But what it is the entry fee will go to a new organization, or at least not a new organization, but a new organization within Homeland Security that is going to help tourists travel the U.S., and it's going to help pay for a lot of the new security things. But the entire organization will be paid for by this $10 fee. And Europeans are extremely upset. So do you think that this $10 fee, first of all, is a good idea?
There's nothing like a warm cup of bureaucracy in the afternoon. This is asinine. I mean, why do they have to pay to come to our country? They're coming here, and they're obviously going to support our economy. I remember one of her primary arguments was that other countries have these divisions of tourism, blah blah